It's all about the gunslingers from 2021. Trevor Lawrence has stepped to the forefront. Has anybody else? We'll discuss that on Locked On NFL Draft.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NFL Draft. Glad to be with you. Eric Crocker, former NFL, AFL defensive back, is leading the way on our defense. Leading our offense is Ryan Tracy. You can follow him at Ryan Tracy NFL. At Eric_Crocker is Eric's Twitter handle. And me, well, I'm just the old guy here trying to bring everybody together. My name is John Harris. I'm the sideline reporter. I do a bunch of football stuff here for the Houston Texans and the owner of footballtakeover.com. And tonight's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. We all want to do things faster. We all want quarterbacks to do things faster, process faster, throw faster, run faster. Well, the 2021 class has not quite been doing that now on into their second year, with the exception of one quarterback, the guy that was drafted number 1 overall. He might have had the worst season in 2021 as a rookie, but he is now turning it around under the leadership of Doug Peterson. Eric, I'm going to start with you about Trevor Lawrence. I can admit down in Houston, we were sort of hoping, wishing that Trevor wasn't that. We would always kind of say, well, yeah, at least see how he looked in 2021. He's going to be that way. But in the back of my mind, I knew, okay, this guy's going to get it at some point. Do you think he's getting it now?
I think so, and I think it definitely helps when you have an offensive-minded coach like that, a guy who played the quarterback position in Doug Peterson, and now you start to see that progression from him. Last year for Trevor Lawrence, I mean, it was a mess, and that's saying it lightly. Right? You have Urban Meyer, everything that transpired from there. I think it started with him with just the way he handled the offseason, some of the coaching hires, and then all that's kind of snowballed into drafting Trevor Lawrence number 1 overall, which was a good pick from a talent perspective. But on paper, they weren't getting the results that they wanted. And, you look at Trevor Lawrence, he threw more interceptions and touchdowns. I think he led the NFL in interceptions as well, or tied with 17 with another quarterback. That's not ideal, but not a lot of really good things around him. What they do this offseason got him a better head coach, a guy who previously won a Super Bowl, and you saw what he was capable of doing with Carson Wentz, when Carson Wentz was playing extremely well, and with Nick Foles, getting the most out of him to be able to reach a Super Bowl. So that was pretty cool, and having that type of mind in there, but just to help kind of develop your young quarterback, and then the weapons that they put around him. I know a lot of people looked at the Christian Kirk signing kind of weird because it kind of turned the market upside down with the receiver position, but ultimately going out, getting them weapons, being able to lean on some guys, getting some guys back healthy, including the running back back there, and now it's looking like the pieces are coming together. He challenged Washington Commanders in week 1. That was a game where Jacksonville was almost kind of able to pull it off, kept it close for the most part. And then week 2, you see them not only dominate on offense, but on defense as well. They won 24-0. Trevor Lawrence completed 80% of his passes. I think some of the signs, even outside of the box scores, with their year 1, where you see him make certain throws where you say, okay, that was big time. You see certain things he's able to do with his legs and mobility. Okay, that's big time. That's why you like him. You just wanted to see if it would start to click. And I think right now, early on, he's trending upward.
Ryan, with Trevor Lawrence trending upward and the rest of the AFC South seemingly not, can it put the Jaguars in the driver's seat to potentially do something it hasn't done since 2017, and that's win the division? First question. Second question, are we learning the value of Doug Peterson versus the mess that was Urban Meyer?
First, I don't know about driver's seat, but they're certainly in the hunt for that division. This is a couple of ball games, and I think I see progression here that I like. You never know what's going to happen, though. This is an organization that has had some fumbles in the past, and I don't mean just in their coaching decisions. But that second part, you're absolutely right. And I think as you see the two guys come together, and Croc brought it up, when Carson Wentz was hurt, you got a lot out of Nick Foles when you're Doug Peterson and his staff in Philly. That goes under the radar. It gets all swept underneath the Super Bowl banners. You know what I mean? Like, he can get things out of guys that you didn't think he necessarily had before. And that's what I see so far. I thought Lawrence, I was prepared preseason to say, I'm going to start counting Trevor Lawrence as part of the 2022 class because he got 0 out of year 1. But that started to turn around. They kind of, I think, pressed the buttons and wanted to do what they did in college a little bit week 1 against the Washington Commanders. Ended up with 1 touchdown, 1 turnover, was really pressing, I felt. Average at the target was over 10. They come back week 2, and they kind of, yes, it's a different defense you're facing, but I think they simplified things. I think they made it more like Trevor can deal now. He went 83% completion rate.
Yep.
Took his depth of target down to about 6.5 and just started spitting that ball out. And I think that is what's going to help him develop and kind of make up that time from season 1 where he had no direction and no help and no development. And that's something I think Doug Peterson is really, really adept at doing. You've seen him work with young quarterbacks throughout his career, and I think it's only going to help Trevor Lawrence more.
I've seen every young quarterback in this league live, up close. There hasn't been one that I haven't seen up close. In this class, I saw Lance up close, Wilson, Davis and Mack. Justin I'll see on Sunday. But I knew that Trevor Lawrence was going to be that. I knew it in week 1 last year. He had a throw against us where he had a little bit of a half roll right, and he threw it back. And I can't remember the route, but I don't know if it was a deep over route or what they ran. But I'm talking that ball it's 45 yards, point A to point B. And dude put it on a dime. I mean, we had 2 guys there that could have made a play, and they just completely and totally misjudged that throw. And I remember thinking, man, if they harness that, if they can harness that, and I never thought that Urban Meyer was going to be the guy to do that, but I felt like once Doug Peterson got there, man, if they can harness that, they're going to be fine. And Nick Foles was probably a better, maybe even so than Wentz, was better in that offense because he loved to throw the ball down the field. Trevor loves to throw the ball down the field. What they got Nick to do was to master that short to intermediate game, make sure the tight ends got involved like Zach Ertz, and that Philly offense took off from there. But 25 and 30, Ryan, you said it, 83%. Didn't throw for a ton of yards, but it felt like the game was in his hands. Like it was completely and totally in his control. And I had just seen the Colts week before and saw that defense and know what that defense is all about. And he just played him like a puppet. And that is really, really scary for anybody in the AFC South. Now, Trevor's on the good side. He gets smelly popcorn stickers like you used to get in school. I don't know. You guys are a little bit younger. When I was good way back in the day, I used to get the little smelly popcorn stickers for getting an A+. On the other side, getting the skunk stickers, the rest of the 2021 NFL draft class we will discuss next. But first, as you gear up for fall, you need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. Now, I was lucky. I didn't need LinkedIn to get with my guys, Ryan and Eric. But LinkedIn Jobs can help you, and they make it easier to help find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job and the purple #hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools, screening questions. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for FREE free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, gentlemen, there's good and there's bad. There's Jekyll and there's Hyde. Now, I never knew who Jekyll was or who Hyde was. I just knew one was good and one was bad. Trevor's the good. I think that was Dr. Jekyll. So the Mr. Hyde is everybody else from the 2021 class. And, Eric, I want to start with you because I think the Trey Lance one is unfortunate because it's an injury. I don't know that he's playing all that well prior to it. I believed in him. I think people still believe in him, but we'll see what happens. But, man, what a gut punch and a half for the 49ers to give up all that draft capital and lose Trey Lance and go right back to Jimmy Garoppolo, who got the win against Seattle. I know you cover the 49ers for Locked On 49ers. Go check it out. Make that one of your listens on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your thoughts, Eric, about Trey Lance and what this means for the 49ers and Lance going forward?
Man, it's extremely, extremely disappointing, disheartening. I mean, that was one of the tougher things to kind of see because, like you said, 49ers invested a lot in him. And he didn't really play last year. He played 2 games, ended up helping the 49ers go to the playoffs by beating your Houston Texans, right, Week 17, in a must-win game. Essentially, that's what it was for the 49ers. And you saw that and you wanted to see, okay, can he continue to kind of build on that? Well, training camp a little up and down, but he got to week 1 of preseason and boom, completes 4 out of 5 passes, a 75-yard touchdown to Danny Gray. Things are looking up. Plays in the last preseason game, definitely more down than up. A lot of pressure coming from the tackles. But then the season starts. And this is his team. They've given him the keys. Jimmy Garoppolo is his backup. He starts off very well against Chicago. 49ers are up. They're up 10-0. He's doing well. He's completing passes. He's stretching the field. He's making some really big-time throws, some layer throws, all the things you want to see. He's making plays with his legs. He's converting on 3rd down. He's doing everything that you wanted him to do. And then the tsunami storm hit, and then he started kind of going haywire with his accuracy and whatnot. But it was more so the storm. He had played, and there's a stat, like through 3 quarters, he had graded out as a top 10 quarterback. And then the storm hit, things went crazy. Well, you're like, okay, how does he play against the Seattle Seahawks, a team that knows the 49ers? And he comes out, boom, they march right down the field. They kick a field goal. They get 3 points. He completes a 30-yard pass. Things are looking up. He comes back out. They hand the ball to Debo, and then they run him, and he snaps his ankle while driving to score again. And the tough thing with Trey Lance is I think out of all the guys, people knew, like, oh, man, he just needs the reps. He needs to throw. Didn't throw a whole lot at North Dakota State. Sat most of his rookie years. So, okay, he just needs the reps and needs to see it. And you start to see him do these little things heading in the right direction, being more accurate on his short to intermediate passes. That was something where he was either money last year or way off. And I mean throwing the ball 10 yards over a guy's head. But it started to slow down, and you started to see it. And the ball was coming out of his hands quicker. You could see him letting it go. Those things you were starting to see, and then you snapped his ankle, and he misses this year. So you asked, what does this mean for the 49ers long term? I don't know, because now you're talking about him missing 2 years of really pivotal development that he needed the most. And the 49ers go far again. And let's say they win the Super Bowl. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo will be a free agent, and they can't even franchise tag him. So what do you do then? You go into year 3 with Trey Lance, with still having the same question marks and still him needing to throw more and get that development. I think it's a very unfortunate situation all the way around for the San Francisco 49ers. But fortunately for them, they do have Jimmy Garoppolo to lean on at least this year.
Yeah, at least this year, no doubt. I felt like Lance was due. I loved him coming to North Dakota State. I felt like he had the tools. I felt like he had the IQ, the cerebral nature to play the position. But it's a really tricky situation now with the 49ers at that point. Ryan, Zach Wilson hasn't gotten on the field yet. He's hurt. Justin Fields, Bears scored 10 points. I don't know if there's any talent around Justin Fields other than Darnell Mooney and David Montgomery that you feel like, is he even protected by the offensive line? Davis struggled at certain points yesterday in his second start. He showed some good things against the Colts, some bad things, decent things against the Broncos, some bad things. Mac Jones, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He's dealing with Matt Patricia trying to change the offense. It just hasn't gone well, really, for the 2021 class. Are we being too quick to write them off? And we're not really writing them off, but are we too quick to kind of put them in a bad category? Or is it more needs improvement? Or have you seen enough from these guys to know they're not it?
I haven't seen enough from anybody to know anything about anybody career-wise, except for maybe Trey Lance. I'll come back to that in a second. But it is definitely red flags. It's, hey, we need to support these guys more. We need to figure out how to change our game plans to protect the quarterback. So you're not asking them to do too much.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely that point. Mac Jones, I thought was a great – I was reading this on the way home. Malik Reed, who is an outside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers, was saying how much Mac was changing and doing at the line of scrimmage, that he knew what they were in and he knew what play to get to. I just don't know that New England's got the firepower around him for him to really execute it the way that maybe the Patriots want. I just hate the fact that for Mac, he's got to deal with an offensive staff that has a former defensive coordinator, head coach calling the plays, another head coach who is handling another key position for the team. And where does that put Mac in his development?
Puts him all by his damn self is where it puts him.
Right.
That's the problem. And I can't see him coming out of that. And unlike Lance, that's the saddest part about Lance is I am concerned because it's not just this season. It's not just last season. He played, 5 games in 21. He's got 2 under his belt now. He played 1 the year before that. 3 years of football, he has half of a season. I'm concerned about his long-term development because I see him outside of Lawrence as maybe the savior of this class, the guy that still has the upside that I can see he still needs rhythm. He still needs development. Whereas is there more upside out of Mac Jones? I don't know if there is. I don't know if they're going to be able to put a team around him to give him what he needs.
I think that's what they're banking on, right? Putting more players around him. But I would kind of argue they've been trying to, right? I mean, they added guys like Nelson Aguilar. They brought in Jonnu Smith. They brought in Hunter Henry. Kendrick Bourne is a solid third receiver or so, or third option, or even your fourth option. They went and got Parker from the Miami Dolphins. You know, they have running backs as well. I mean, I feel like they are trying to add a lot of weapons. Something's not meshing. And like you said, it could start with just what they have at the offensive coordinating position. Now, I don't want to push back on that, but I do know sometimes it helps you knowing one side of the ball so well to understand, hey, what are the strengths and weaknesses of certain coverages? How can you put these defenders in the bind? And if you can kind of, really get it right mentally to where you're able to verbalize exactly what it is you're thinking to where you can call those plays, I do feel like that's something that can potentially work out. Maybe not this year, but maybe moving forward. Tall task. But I think the Patriots don't have the weapons. I think that whole thing is a bit overblown. They are throwing a lot of resources at that position. Something about it is just not quite clicking.
I don't think you're wrong, Eric, about somebody that understands one side of the ball or not. I have no problem if the University of Texas went to Gary Patterson and said, hey, can you help us on this side of the ball? Like, what are they doing defensively to help us? But to make the guy offensive coordinator, play caller for the first time ever, that to me is a bit much. And it's not really even that. I mean, Bill O'Brien is a guy that I knew for a long time. Bill spent a lot of time learning how to coach quarterbacks, and he was kind of thrown into the fire there with the New England Patriots. And he kind of learned, and obviously he had somebody that he could lean on with Tom Brady. And he was thrown into the fire, but he was an offensive coordinator before. He had spent a lot of time on the offensive side of the ball. He had at least called an offensive play. And I worry about that with Mac from his development, just from that standpoint, because name a great quarterback, and I'm sure there probably is one, name a great quarterback that developed from year one all the way through that had a below average coaching staff that basically that quarterback had to overcome. And I'm sure there are probably some Packers fans going, Aaron Rodgers with Mike McCarthy. No, Mike McCarthy's not a below average, especially at that point. He was not a below average coach. But I hope Mac works it out. I like Mac. I like his chutzpah. I like his goyons. I think he is going to be good for New England. And to your point, Eric, about weapons, I think they have them in depth. I think they have numbers. But they need a guy. They need a Justin Jefferson. They need an alpha. They need that number one. They need the Randy Moss back. That's what they need. All those other guys, if they slide down a spot, then I think it's dead on.
Well,
but
and
they
that
need to have that guy.
It comes back to leadership and who's making those decisions. Because they're going and getting weapons, but they're shopping in the bargain bin.
Same guy who drafted Chad Jackson, N'Keal Harry, and a few others. So yeah.
I did want to answer one question from Ryan, right? And he asked, has we seen Mac Jones hit his ceiling? And we might have from a physical standpoint, but I think mentally there's still more there. He clearly understands what's going on, what he's seeing from the defense. Maybe executing it is hit and miss. Maybe we could put that on the offensive coordinator. Some of it has to be on his decision making because I think that's been very poor. He's thrown like 9 interceptions over his last like 6 or 7 games, and he threw another one right into the hands of a Pittsburgh Steelers defender Sunday evening, and I have no idea how the defender dropped it, but he literally just threw it right to him. So he has to improve on the decision making, but I do think he's heading in the right direction from that standpoint. There's still more he can do mentally as it pertains to his development.
Yeah, absolutely bet on that. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Bet Online before we get to either or next. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your pro and college football betting needs and sports info this season. Find all the latest football league developments, game matchups, news, podcasts, including this year's opening week's games. BetOnline is also your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. The fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, Major League Baseball, MMA, boxing, golf. If you're betting on golf, BetOnline.net, that's where you need to go. Bet Online, where the game starts. All right, boys, let's get to some either-ors, and we're going to change it up a little bit with this first one. And Ryan Tracy, we're going to start with you because you are wearing red. The best college football player / future NFL prospect is Brock Bowers of Georgia or the field? Ryan Tracy, Brock Bowers is the best future NFL prospect, or you taking the field? That's wide-ranging. I'm giving you everything.
That's tough.
Brock Bowers
might be the best future tight end in the league.
Oh.
But he's not the best player, period. At least not yet. He's still young. There's more upside, but I'll take the field right now.
Okay.
Is he
Crocker.
young? I can't tell by his hair. Have y'all seen his hair? Oh, man. He got the whole boomerang
is it going back?
on. Yeah.
It's going back. He is from Napa, but what he did against South Carolina, they ran him on a tight end reverse. They put him out as the X, and they threw a fade route. And by the way, that fade route, he actually got both feet. I think the right toe, the last toe might have got a little bit of white, but that would have been a catch in the NFL. Then he has a catch and run away from everybody. Eric Crocker, either Brock Bowers or the field.
Listen, there are guys like Will Anderson in this class, and I don't want to be, too hype in the moment watching Georgia beat down on South Carolina. But, man, this kid is impressive. And when it comes to pass catching, we talked about it. They had a guy by the name of George Pickens on that roster last year. Yeah. I think Bowers, even then, was the best pass catcher on that roster. So this is a guy who is tremendous. The run after catch ability is there. We saw the contested catch ability in the end zone. Awesome tight end, breakaway speed, very fluid. I think he fits what the tight ends are kind of molding into looking like at the next level. Again, got guys like Will Anderson. There's some terrific prospects, defensive linemen over in Clemson, Georgia, all these other schools. But I'm going to be a little edgy here, and I'm going to take Brock Bowers. Might even be. I think he's a little underrated. I think he's slept on.
I think you're right. I think he's slept on. And the thing is he's got to play another year before he's even eligible. It's crazy. But I think if you put him in this draft, I think I would put him right up there with Will Anderson. What I find interesting about this, and one of the reasons I brought this up, is kind of to poke a little bit of fun at us in this industry, right? Because we all, and I'm not saying you guys, I know I do this sometimes. I'm like, that's the best player I've ever seen. We've never seen anybody like that guy right there. So when Kyle Pitts came out of Florida, what did we say? He's a unicorn. Nobody like him ever. You're never going to see another Kyle Pitts. And not only did we see another Kyle Pitts, it just took 1 year at Florida's rival, Georgia, to bring in Brock Bowers only as a true sophomore. He's been absolutely sensational. And I would probably go the field, but man, Bowers is really good.
He is good. Will he be more productive year or two in his first couple of games? Because right now, Kyle Pitts has not been productive. I don't know if he's just getting a lot more attention or what it is, but I believe he has 4 catches in 2 games. So just something to keep an eye on.
All right. So let's go back to quarterbacks for this one. Which future NFL quarterback, and I know what I just said, which future NFL quarterback has been more impressive through the first 3 weeks of the college football season? And they're both from the SEC, but probably not the ones you think of. Either Will Levis of Kentucky or Stetson Bennett IV from Georgia. Eric Crocker, you go first.
This is tough because I've been banging the table for Will Levis, and I think his game and how they run that offense, man, it translates right to the NFL, playing under center, play action, turning his back to defenses, and turning around, finding the reads, all that stuff is look good, enough mobility. But I don't know if I can keep sleeping on Stetson Bennett. All right. This guy, all he's done is go out there every single week and play at an extremely high level. He's been extremely efficient. One thing that we've seen from Georgia, they lean on the run game, right? And, hey, throw the ball 12, 13, 15 times. We don't care. We're going to run the rock. They've been throwing it a lot. They've been putting the game on his shoulders. He's making guys miss in space, running in for touchdowns. It's like, what more do you want to see from Stetson Bennett? And maybe it's his name, Stetson. Maybe it's his lack of size and ability. But this guy is playing at a high level. And, I mean, we've seen other guys, right? Bryce Young. Everybody talk about Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. They've done well. Are they playing better than Stetson Bennett? And I would say right now, from a consistency standpoint, I think that it's a legit question. I don't want to go too overboard. I don't want somebody to screenshot this and be like, Croc says that Stetson Bennett is the best quarterback in this class. I'm not saying that.
But you answered the question. You answered the question. Which one has been more impressive? And you're right.
I think it's a debate. And right now, and I know we talked about Will Levis, I'd say maybe Stetson Bennett has been the most consistent and best quarterback in this class right now.
Right now.
Is he the best pro prospect? That's a bigger question because, you got to arm strength. You start breaking things down with how guys are doing and whatnot. But right now, man, like nobody's playing better than him.
Dude's puking on the field and throwing fade routes. I mean, that's sweet. I don't know how you can do that. Ryan, go.
Let me make it easy
for
you. Let me make it real easy for you, Croc. From now on, we'll refer to him as SB4 because I cannot say the fourth more times than once. So that's it. But it comes down to one thing. You can't boil quarterback play down to one stat, but one that gives you a lot of insight into what his impact is. One guy is 6-4 touchdowns and interceptions. One guy is 5-0 plus he's using his legs. It sets him better and it's not close.
Yeah, I think from right now, from a playing perspective, I think Stetson Bennett's been out of control good. I mean, I didn't put him in my Harris 100, and I watched the game the other day, and I kept thinking, am I going to regret this? And there's a large part of me thinking that he at least should be in the Harris 100. He should get some consideration. And I know there'll be a lot of people that won't because he's 6 foot, 190, but he's got a cannon. He can run. He's going to be a great teammate. I mean, look at his career and look what he's done. Look what he's fought through. Teams want quarterbacks and players that have gone through adversity. That guy has done that and then some. That's
at the very least. At the very least, you're looking at a legit backup in the NFL. Right?
Yes,
and that's how people are going to look because of the lack of size and things like that. So, backup, and he's going to have to prove again that he can play at the NFL level.
No doubt, no doubt. Well said, boys. For Ryan and Eric, I'm John. Appreciate you guys being with us, and thanks for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen every day. Now make your second listen, the Peacock and Williamson NFL show. Brian Peacock and former NFL scout Matt Williamson give you the expert NFL analysis in less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. And we appreciate you for downloading this podcast or watching on YouTube. You guys are the best. For Eric, for Ryan, I'm John. We will see you next time right here on Locked On NFL Draft. Let's go.
Peace.